Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for the opportunity yet again to contribute to this bill on culture. It is an important bill, and I congratulate the sponsor of the bill. However, I would pray that the bill be expanded to the modern days. Culture is the way people give meaning, the way people understand their environment, the way people operate in their environment, the way people live. In my constituency at Kakapel Hills in Teso North, we have got the prehistoric cave paintings, the only ones that have been known in this part of the world, in those caves. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, when you go to that cave and you look at these prehistoric cave paintings, you will notice that the people were reproducing their way of life at the time. They were reproducing the animals, whatever they were doing at the time in those prehistoric days. They have got symbols that are yet to be deciphered that are in those rocks. And I want to look at that aspect of culture, not as an invitation to look at the past, but an invitation to engage with the present and to look at the future. Clearly, I want to look at science and technology as a core component of culture. Today, much as it's impressive to look at the past, to look at the traditional dances, to look at all those things, and traditional and indigenous knowledge, we need to embrace science and technology as the cornerstone of our culture today. When the people who come maybe 200 years from down the line will look at us, they must see in us the capacity to survive and to have engaged effectively in the global economy. Culture should not be a question of traditional dances, a question of traditional dress, or traditional food, and other museum pieces. Culture should go beyond the museum and embrace the modern world, the current challenges that we have. So what kind of culture are we going to endanger? Or to engender, or not to endanger, but to engender with this bill? I would pray that the bill goes beyond inviting us to look to the past and to look at how we are engaging with the modern day. It always hurts me. Much as I'm a playwright, I'm a published playwright, I've written many plays which are published, but I am not happy that other than the National Drama Festival, we do not have an equivalent that draws a similar attention in science and technology. I would like to see science and technology becoming the culture of this country, whereby we move away from magic and superstition and take on ourselves a culture of weights and measures, of prediction, of interrogation, of inquiry, so that we can carve ourselves a space in the modern world. I wouldn't celebrate Majimaji rebellion, where people say that bullets could turn into water when they do some dances. I would not celebrate that, because it resulted in their being crushed and killed. Culture should give us the capacity to produce those guns, to produce the capacity to master elements of nature and harness them in such a way that we solve our problems. So I would request that the sponsors of the bill expand it to make our understanding of ourselves, our engagement with the environment and whatever, not just an invitation to celebrate our past that may be glorified or not, but it must be an invitation to carve out a niche for ourselves in the global world of today. We must anchor science and technology at the center of our experience. When I look at the cave paintings in Kakapel, I look at the technology of making ink that can last all those generations. I look at the technology of painting that those prehistoric people had. So that in the absence of science and technology, of the modern challenges, of engaging with the modern challenges through science and technology, we might find that we are inviting ourselves to celebrate our past. But beyond telling us where we came from, may not be telling us where we are going. So, our culture today, Mr. Speaker, sir, is a culture where we are using smartphones, we are driving vehicles, we are doing kidney transplants, we are engaging in so many things that rely on science and technology. And unfortunately, of all those things, maybe 99% we consume without contributing to their production. Just as I look at the people who lived in the Kakapel Hills, when they painted their environment, what they were doing, how they were surviving, today, if I was to go on a hill and paint my experience for posterity, I might lack much to paint that is original in terms of my own experience. If I paint a smartphone, if I paint a pair of glasses, if I paint, whatever I paint, the science and the technology in those things will not be something I own. So I would love that this bill on culture, we expand the understanding of culture as being a way of engaging with our environment. The modern times, and if you have to look behind, we look at the past, we look at the past to learn about engaging with the future, about conquering the environment, about, or rather not even the word environment, maybe the better word would be ecology, about existing properly in our ecology. And so, Mr. Speaker, sir, I plead with the move of the bill to expand its scope, to revise it, important as it is. It's inviting us to look back without challenging us to look forward. As we look back, we must look forward. We must create a culture of producing what we consume. If you have to learn anything from the past societies, is that they were virtually not dependent on others. So consuming what we produce, our autonomy, our ability to manage our societies, our ability to engage and conquer our environment, and maybe to participate effectively in the ecologies that we find ourselves in, so that we don't look at culture as something that is caught in a time warp. like we are looking at a movie of the past, or we are engaging in a play of the past. I would like to see that we create sustainable economies. We create a culture of rule of law, obeying the law, being stable. If we look at our African traditional religions, and we are told that the purpose of morality was to create a ritually neutral society, a society that did not need rituals to survive, a society that could allow life to be transmitted, then we must come back and ask ourselves, how are we running our modern states? Is the Kenyan state, is the culture within the Kenyan state a culture that allows life to thrive, or is it a culture of death? What values are we imparting in our society, right from the school, the curriculum, and what have you, so that if we are able to develop a society whereby we want to make the rule of law supreme, we want to ensure that we can procreate and pass on life, then we must be beginning to engender a culture of consequences. And let us go, if we have to look into our traditional societies, let us look at what values there were and how we can borrow them for the modern world. But let us not look at our culture in terms of our past cultures and celebrate them just in terms of attire, in terms of music, and in terms of other things that we look at and wonder about. If it's going for indigenous knowledge, let us invest in that indigenous knowledge. Let us modernize it. Let us bring science to engage, science and technology, to engage with those hubs. And we are able to produce tablets and capsules. And we are able to produce measurements of dosage. What is the dosage for treating such and such a thing? Let us invest in research and development so that our cultures can be of value in the modern day. For museum pieces, we can have the museum pieces. You can have those ones for entertaining other people, for whatever it may be, to remember whatever it is. But let us bring in, Senator Maina spoke about the Kiondo as a product. Somebody in China looked at it, added a bit of science and technology, and began mass production and copyrighted it, and ran away with it using synthetic fiber. Can we do that? Can we get a place for science and technology in our cultural experience so that we can modernize our experience? What our forefathers engaged with, we can modernize it the way other people of the world have done, modernize their experience, infused science and technology, mainstreamed science and technology through research and development, and came up with cultural expressions or cultural expositions of a culture that is not an invitation to the past, but one that uses the past to move into the future, to challenge the future, and to try and conquer the future. Let our culture in Kenya be a culture of satellites. Let us have a culture of trying to be modern. And trying to be modern does not mean that what our forefathers did was not modern. It was modern in their days. Today we have got concepts like modern and postmodern and stuff like that. Let us also be able to engender that kind of experience to live on earth as global citizens and mainstream a culture of production, a culture of manufacturing, a culture of value addition, a culture of proper banking. We move away from these Shylock banks and get banks that can help us invest and grow this economy. So the culture part for me is a big, big area. The bill has scratched the surface. And if it's a bill being done in the 21st century, the way this one is being done, then it must be a bill that invites us to develop a culture that allows us to carry our weight in the global economy, in the global environment. Not a culture that invites us to look at a past that is no longer relevant in our days, other than maybe the values, but whose material experience may not be relevant today. The fabrics of the past and what have you may not be relevant today. Let us proceed forward and be able to compete for our space with the Americans, the Europeans, the Arabs, the Persians, the Chinese, the indigenous peoples across the world, and many others, so that our nation, which we pride as the cradle of mankind, can really thrive and be at par with any other country, with any other civilization. And civilizations come and go. No civilization is static. And we cannot try to argue that the Kenyan civilization is static and stuck in the post-colonial days. Kenya has a civilization of today and of tomorrow. Yesterday is gone. Let us borrow what is of value from yesterday, but let us know that the challenge to be on this earth is about today and tomorrow. And let us mainstream science, let us mainstream technology, let us invest heavily in research and development. And I would like that bill to provide for proper provisions of research and development into the past indigenous sets of knowledge and technologies, and see how we can benefit from them. If it is medical or whatever it is, let us see how we can benefit from them in the modern economy and use them like the Chinese have done and others in the Asian world have done with their indigenous knowledge, and been able to modernize even their medicine today. They package it in capsules, they package it in syrups, they package it in tablets with clear dosage. They have got clear ways of diagnosing illnesses and what have you. Let us modernize our knowledge, let us modernize our experience, and let us create a modern Kenyan civilization that the ages who come after us will be proud of us. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, sir, I support the bill, and I pray that the response of the bill expands it to the modern era. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Okay. Senator Kadrin Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to this bill. Honorable Speaker, this is a very important bill for this country. It seeks to implement the requirement in Article 11 on culture. And Honorable Speaker, it's a bill that is long overdue, and a bill that is seriously required